Welcome back to our 1918 little country farmhouse. I'm so excited to show you some of the things that I've been working on to restore our home back to its original 1918 charm. There's so many exciting things that have been happening in the kitchen, like painting our Elmira stove. I was so inspired by nature and the things happening outside. And I can't wait to show you our little hidden pantry that's under the stairs. I didn't do a very great job of getting before pictures, but this is what I have. This is the wall that's on the opposite side of the stove. It's a blank wall, and underneath it is underneath the stairs. It's also where we had to replace our AC unit, our heater. So when they did that, they made a big hole in the wall, which was the perfect opportunity to put in a pantry, which I've really been lacking here in our little country kitchen. This is the exact hole that they pulled out the old AC unit with, so it seemed perfect for a door to enter into a pantry under the stairs. It is a little wonky. There's some things that we had to work with, like the slanting of the staircase, and so I thought a barn door situation would work out best. I said a little prayer, and I had a friend who just happened to have this bifolding old door that's like from 1910, and it just worked out perfectly to go over this hole. We made the hole wide enough to get past these pipings that are going to the AC unit, and we hired out some help to put in some beadboard and put up some shelving. I specifically designed the space for all of my homemade canned goods and also my bulk cooking from scratch things like my 5-gallon buckets of flour and sugar and grains. So I had them make shelves underneath every single stair, runner, and tread that was big enough to fit 3 sets of jars underneath the stairs. And also a big shelf in the very back for me to slide my buckets under, and I needed a place to put some appliances like my pressure canner and slow cooker and things like that. Then I got to painting, and there's nothing better than turning on an audiobook while you're working.
Just another apparition, not a lovely one, for with a bang an ugly black imp appeared.
So I turned on Little Women and got to work. This is antique white that I'm painting up in here. I had some of that left over from the rest of painting my house. This is the one color I put throughout my entire little farmhouse. It's antique white by Sherwin-Williams. And I did end up staining all of the wood shelves that were put in here as well to kind of match the dark, warm wood tones that are throughout the rest of my kitchen. I like to call this door a God wink. That's when your Father in heaven just knows what you need and he places it in your path because, well, he loves you. And so this bifolding door works just perfectly. It doesn't take up much space, and it's so smooth sliding. So I love how that worked out. And I was able to fit 6 5-gallon buckets under this stair space. So that's just awesome. And I love these twisty lids that go on top of these buckets. It makes it so much easier to get off and on and to be able to refill our buckets and our containers. So underneath here, I have my white all-purpose flour, I have my raw cane sugar, I have my wheat berries, and I believe I have some whole wheat bread flour under there as well, along with a big bucket of potatoes from our garden. And I've also got a bunch of canned pickles that we did this summer, and I could have made like 3 times as much as I did if I had more space to store it all. And you can see this is where I've been storing all of my canned goods, is up here on top of my cabinets, just really putting stuff wherever I could find a place to put it. Okay, catch me.
Just kidding. I knew you were half joking, but like,
Here I come, Jaden! Catch me!
Mom.
I've been loading up the pantry shelves with my beautiful homemade preserves and goods, and this is really my cooking from scratch pantry, and that's what's going in here is all those ingredients I need for cooking from scratch. But the sun goes down so early these days, and I've got to get dinner on the table quickly, so I grabbed a couple cartons of broth, and we're going to make some kale and sausage soup for dinner tonight. So I always make my bone broth from scratch, but when I'm in a hurry, I do love to use the kettle and fire because of their clean ingredients. As you can see, there's no preservatives or MSG in this bone broth. I grew up in a home with a dad who was allergic to preservatives and MSG. You think when you're buying a general brand that says organic that it doesn't have preservatives or added things, but they often have yeast extract, so watch out for that sneaky ingredient. Kettle and Fire is actually a bone broth you can trust. They simmer their broths for over 14 hours, so the flavor of the broth is deep and rich. Bone broths are rich with nutrition as well as protein, and each of these cartons adds 19 grams of protein to your meal. Maybe you've seen them at the store. I have, but what I want you to do is follow the link down below and use my code PioneerHome20, because when you do that, you're going to get 20% off of your order. And so go ahead and stock up your pantry, get ready for the holidays, make that gravy with the Kettle and Fire. This is a good brand that I can get behind. And thanks for sponsoring this video, Kettle and Fire. This is a great, quick, and cozy soup for winter. I start out by browning the meat, then I pull that off and saute the onions and the garlic until they're browned. Then I add all of the broth and a bunch of thinly sliced potatoes and boil till they're tender. Then I add about 4 cups of kale, I add the meat back in, and I mix some flour with about 1/2 cup to 1 cup of cream, and add that all together and boil it till the kale is tender. It's rich and delicious. You know what the best part of redoing spaces like this is? It's going through your stuff and figuring out what you don't use and getting rid of half of it. This organizing and finding little places for things to go is so fun. So I did get rid of half of the cookie cutters that I don't use, and I made sure to utilize this little copper basket that I've been holding on to for so long because I didn't know where to put it. So I put all of my cookie cutters in the top 2 tiers, which you can't see because the highest one is hanging under the light like a little chandelier. And the bottom, I put some of these oranges. I think it's so festive to be putting out citrus, especially during the holidays. Necessity is the mother of invention, is what kept going through my mind as I was organizing and putting this space together. Utilizing every square inch of it for things that I needed so that I had a place for every useful thing. Only keeping what I use every day. These jars were sitting on top of my counter to the right of the stove. So I thought I would declutter the countertops and put them in here. The squashes are not just for decoration. We're going to be eating those. And these are the appliances and things I use all the time. The Dutch ovens I use for baking sourdough bread, and my Instapot and slow cooker I use almost every single day. The things at the top are actually a pitcher and a cute pumpkin casserole dish that I don't use every single day. So I thought it would go up on the top shelf. But I do love, and so I want to hold on to those things. And on the bottom, I've got oils and vinegars. Now that our little country pantry under the stairs is organized and complete, my whole baking cupboard is in shambles. And so we're going to be doing that next and putting that all together just in time for all of the holiday baking. But before we get that started, every single year I dehydrate some oranges, and I like to use them to put on the garlands, to tie around my baking canisters, and just to have a little bit of decoration for the holidays. I don't know about you, but baking for the holidays is one thing that I always look forward to. And every single year I reorganize the baking cupboard. I refill all of my canisters and jars, and I make a list of the things that I'm going to need to be making all of the candies and cookies and pies and goodies that we're going to be making for the upcoming holidays. So I do have a little bit of a backlog of a couple of these videos that I can post down below for you if you want to catch up on past year's kitchen holiday organizations. When I have a clean space to start out with, the creativity is endless. And so that's why I'm so motivated to get it ready for all of my baking for the holidays. I've been so distracted with all of the construction happening in the kitchen and the painting that needs to be done. So we have recently put up the beadboard for our new backsplash, so I'm working on getting that painted. And also you can see I've been playing around with some paints here on the cabinets. Now that I have all these warm colors in here, I want to change the blue. So I can't decide if I want to put some of that mustard warm yellow up here, or if I want to dabble with some wallpaper here on this wall where our new pantry door is, and paint all these blue cupboards a warm sage green. And I'm even thinking about getting rid of the yellow altogether and painting the other cabinets cream. So that green is our new accent color in the kitchen. So we shall see what happens in here. It's not over yet. There's always fun things happening here in the kitchen. But I got the cupboards vacuumed out and steam cleaned, so they're nice and clean. And now it's time to stock up and restore some of our empty canisters. I like to use a lot of mason jars, you can see, for my storage. And I pick up bulk supply of cornstarch and flours and sugars and all of the ingredients from either Azure Standard or some of our Amish stores that we have over here. And I have lids for my mason jars. I will try to remember to put those down below, some links for you, so you can find some of those storage containers and lids as well. And I like to bring in some pretty antiques and other little containers that I find on my thrifting adventures. They just bring some extra charm to the kitchen and make things a little bit more interesting. These big glass jars are new to the kitchen though. Some of my favorite glass containers started to break. And so I decided to go with these 2-gallon glass jars, which are so inexpensive. They were, I think, $13 a piece. So I decided to put my all-purpose flour and sugar here on the counter. And those are the things that I use the most during the baking time. I picked up a new little rack from IKEA to hang some of my measuring cups and measuring spoons on, and that was very simple to put up. And I'm also putting up some fairy lights just to bring a little glow and Christmas cheer to this little corner. I hope this video gave you some inspiration moving forward to make your kitchen your very own. Just know your kitchen doesn't need to be big or fancy or look like the ones in the magazines. It just needs to be yours, and you can have so much fun at making it your own in the process. I can't wait to do more holiday content with you soon. I will see you all next week for another video on restoring home, family, and spirit through tried and true homemaking skills. Love you lots.